Yeah! It's victory week for your OKC Renegades as we got the job done against the Bomb Pops. Which, by the way, Bomb Pops, overrated. Anyway, let's go over the game. Unfortunately, no highlights. Unfortunately, I don't have enough room on my device right now to do all the highlight stuff. I gotta do a lot of media on this device, and what I was gonna do for this week was alleviate a lot of this data, go through it, upload anything I've forgotten to upload wherever I need to upload it, and then delete, and then make room for this. But then I do landscaping side work, and I'd do it on weekday evenings and then on the weekends. Now I've pushed it to I'm only working Saturdays. If need be, I'll work a day here, not there, just one other day, evening or Sunday if need be. And unfortunately, that turned into 4 days, which really messed up alleviating space on this device. That's why there's no highlights. My apologies. If everything goes right, which isn't much, we'll have highlights next week. Anyway, let's get into this game. This game started with Chicago getting the ball, 3 and out, punt, and someone fumbled the punt return. I don't remember who that was. Anyway, that led to a touchdown, a very short touchdown drive by the Chicago Warriors, which, if you didn't know, that's who I meant by Bomb Pops. And again, Bomb Pops, kind of overrated. I think they changed the formula or recipe. Anyway, back to the game. They scored. We came right back, tied it up 7-7. I think we 3 and outed them again. Got the ball back, went right back down and scored. There was only, if you count Chicago's first drive that went 3 and out and post the pump fumble as one drive, which it kind of was, they only had two series, I think, in the first half, and we had 1.5 in the first quarter. Anyway, we end up scoring again, making it 14-7. And then we stop them again, and then I don't think they made us punt till just under 4 minutes left in the first half, second quarter. And then, unfortunately, they came down and scored, tied it up. But our offense was firing on all cylinders. We marched down. Unfortunately, didn't get a touchdown, but I think the goal was get the field goal because we were getting the ball in the first half. And that's what we did. We got the field goal, went into the halftime 17-14. The game gave Bovine player of the first half, and he really was. He got a lot of targets, a lot of catches in that first half. Apparently so many that we were looking at possibly getting in trouble for too many throws to him, I guess. I'm not sure the rule on that. Maybe someone in the front office can enlighten me. Speaking of that, we'll introduce you or let you know who is our front office, by the way, a little later in the show. So anyway, we go in the half up 17-14, looking to score coming out of the gates. Unfortunately, we don't. We give the ball up to them. They give it back to us. Then we score a touchdown, I think. Anyway, we scored next, is the point. And we score next because we had more drives to score. And that made it 24-14. And then right before the end of the third quarter, we put up another field goal, or I think that was our only. No, that would be their second field. Yeah, second field goal. Putting us at 27-14 at the end of the quarter. Pretty much putting us in position is just don't let Chicago score 13 in a quarter. But dang, did they make that? They did make that a little bit interesting. But at least me personally, I felt very confident in our defense. Even when they were first and goal. I'm jumping ahead. So they did end up scoring a touchdown. We're getting near the end of the game. I believe about 4 minutes left. They kicked a field goal to make it 27-24. So then we had like 4 minutes and 14 seconds, something like that, to kill. We didn't kill that much clock. We killed about 2.5 minutes. And then we had to... No, you know what we did? We threw an interception. Oh, no, back up. We threw an interception before the field goal. Then we got the ball back. That's when we had 4 minutes. We drove the ball a little bit, killed about 2.5 minutes, gave them like a minute and a half, something like that, to score. Either tie with a field goal or score a touchdown to win. Unless they scored too fast, because the way our offense was really clicking most of the game. I think the fourth quarter was an anomaly because, you get to that point where we don't want to throw as much because you don't want to risk the interceptions. And I think that affected our offense. But I think if we had to go 2-minute offense, I'm pretty confident in that right now, at least against Chicago. So anyway, they had about a minute and a half to score a field goal or get a touchdown. And oh my gosh, Shinyo Nada took everything into his hands. The first throw, we had good pressure, and it looked like Ty Patak threw the ball behind his receiver. The commentary team was wondering why there wasn't pass interference. That's why I think there wasn't pass interference. I think it was thrown behind the receiver and the defender. Then on second down, Shinyo Nada put one heck of a move. Excuse me. One heck of a move on the man trying to block him, because he went and sacked that quarterback untouched. So Chicago goes no huddle, of course. Lines back up, and Shinyo Nada gets a pass deflection to make it 4th and 15. And boy, did they make that 4th down close. But Mike Ryan and 2 other Oklahoma City defenders, I think the throw was about 12 yards long. If he would have held on to it, I think we would have still stopped him short of a first down, but he dropped it. So either way, that was game. Your winners, your OKC Renegades, 27-24. So, let's give props to certain players on the team. Like I said, Bovine was player of the half. At the end of the game, the commentary team gave the game ball to Johnny Pickler. And I'll give him credit. He did spread the ball around. And he had a great game. Though I'm very, quarterback throws a pick. Quarterbacks get player of the game too easy, so, if they throw a pick, unless they do something super-duper crazy to counter that, I usually won't give a quarterback player of the game, or if everyone else kind of seems whatever. And I think I said before, I like to give, 3 players player of the game. So definitely Bovine. Because the first half, he was killing it. And in the fourth quarter, he kind of disappeared in the third. And in his place, our wide receiver Wood was really giving it to him. But then in the fourth, Bovine had some big catches we were really just killing it on third down. And a lot of that was throws to Bovine in the first half and the fourth quarter, and Wood in the third quarter. But definitely we got to give Shinyo Nada a game ball, because not only did he have the sack followed by the pass deflection, and if I remember correctly, pretty good pressure on the first and fourth down play. He had a sack at the beginning of the half. We were about to make Chicago go 3-and-out on their first drive deep into their territory. And then we had an incidental face mask, which gave him second life. Didn't give him automatic first down, but it gave him a second shot. I think it made it 3rd and 9. And Shinyo Nada came up with a huge sack to end that drive. So game ball to Shin. And then, I mean, this is another game where the defense played so well. Rodgers got an interception, so maybe we give the third game ball to him? Let me know in the comments, if you watched the game, who you'd give a game ball to. Up to 3 game balls. But more credit, more props to the defense. And you got to give a little props to the offense for taking up time and possession. The defense took Ty Patak out of the number 1 slot in a lot of league leader stats. So he's no longer the lead leaguer. He's like second or third in a lot of statistics now. Unfortunately, Paulie Truth is still number 1 in a bunch of statistics. But again, and they gave props to Wyo and the whole secondary, really, because other than Truth, the rest of the receivers and tight ends and running backs in the passing game, 2 catches, 9 targets for like 19 yards the whole game. So, extra props to our defense on that one. During that game, they mentioned that we had played Chicago twice last season. I think he meant last year, in the last summer to fall season, where we faced them 2 weeks in a row at the end of the season where the team was depleted, and during the game they gave the point differential, which was ridiculous, and the combined score, which was ridiculous, because it was really like one team firing on all cylinders, trying to get into the playoffs against another team who had lost like a quarter to a third of their players, with nothing to play for. Just want to make that correction. But on that note, because of those 2 games, I feel Chicago is our rival. Unfortunately, we're not in the same division anymore, because that was 2 seasons ago was the last season we were in the same division. And then we're, obviously we're in the West now. Chicago's in the North. I don't know, this 3-division thing is, they're North, because it's the West, South, and North. So they got to be in the North. I would like to be in the same division again, because I feel like they're our rival. So, another question for you all. Who do you feel is Chicago's rival? That was a topic up on Streets Are Talking on Thursday night, on who are certain teams' rivals and what were the best rivals of the 2K era. But yeah, in the comments, let me know who you think OKC's rival is, or your personal rival as an OKC Renegade fan, or an outsider just looking in and be like, who their rival is. Anyway, moving on. So, like I mentioned, we're going to introduce you to the OKC Renegades office. Okay, just for those who don't know, a little unclear of the upper workings behind the scenes of the OKC Renegades, this is the front office official list. First off, he's not just a Hall of Fame tight end, he's also the owner and the head coach of the OKC Renegades. He's the captain of the ship, you could say. The general of the rebellion, Tiberius Bovine. Next up is Chad Rowland. He's the director of football operations, also in that linebacker corps. Next up, the GM and defensive coordinator, also a wide receiver tight end hybrid, doing very well this season so far, Goose Busters. He was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, as well as Charles Franz, who not only is our kicker, but our assistant GM. And we would like to do more interviews like we did a couple weeks ago, like we had with Goose Busters and Charles Franz. We're still working out the best video conference interviewing system, whether that's Zoom or Streamlabs or whatever. We're still figuring that out. I forget what my problem is with Zoom was, but yeah, if you have a suggestion, put it in the comments. Next up and finally, what's the saying? Last but not least, Scout Neil Rivers rounds out our front office of the OKC Renegades. Now let's talk about that game coming up against some daggone Scorpions. So we have the Scorpions coming up, road trip, which is one disadvantage. I think, was it last week I told you about a more formulaic way of, or it's a formula to help, or not help, to predict a game score based off of previous stats. The one I use, which wasn't, I don't think it was too far off. I believe it had us beating Chicago 31-24. And, I mean, 31's an odd football score. So, I mean, really, it's kind of something, if you see that, you round down to 30, because that's a more realistic football score, I believe. But we were just been a field goal away from that. And considering we were moving the ball, and if the clock didn't run out, we probably could have kicked a field goal to... No, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'm trying to think here. How'd that game end? Yeah, we stopped them, and then we ran the clock out. We were close to the field goal before we had to punt it away. And then we made that stop, and then we just killed the clock. Brain fart there for a second. I hate that term, brain fart. Anyway, so that formula I was talking about has us losing 26-21. And I know at the beginning of the season we were looking at it, was like, okay, that should be a win. That's going to be a tough one. That one's kind of 50-50. The Scorpions were one of those 50-50 teams. They didn't have a great season last season. They're 1-1 now. You look at who they beat and who they lost to. They lost to 3-0 Pittsburgh. But still early. It's still early. You don't know. 3-0 team could still be an imposter, and an 0-2 team could be a contender. Especially, like I've said before, the first game and the second game are probably the two hardest to game plan Because, A, you don't know what you're going to get on the first game, and then the second game, you could get an entirely flipped strategy, which is kind of what happened with us with Miami. So still kind of like, what are these teams? So it's hard to say with certainty that Arizona's loss was to an actual like championship contender, and that they beat the 2-1 Anchorage. I believe they're 2-1. What's Anchorage's name? The Wolves? Or am I thinking of Doles Hockey? Anyway, whatever their names are, they beat Anchorage, who's 2-1. And I know we're getting some disrespect maybe is a better term, because of our schedule so far has been pretty light. Who did we start the season off again? We beat Chicago, lost to Miami. We beat the Cougars, who are still a mystery, even to themselves, trying to figure themselves out, even though I believe they have a good roster. I've only seen about half of a Scorpions game, and that was the game against Pittsburgh. And they seem to be they seemed a bit inconsistent. I was very shocked at what happened to them against Pittsburgh, to be honest. It was like one of the things where like they could do stuff, but then they just couldn't finish. They don't have a particularly like super strong offense, but they don't have like a bad offense. They don't have like a particularly super strong defense, but they don't have a bad defense. And that kind of... And with us, we have like a really strong defense. I think we're ranked 6th defensively. And our offense is... I just looked at it not too long ago. It was low teens, so it's on the back half, but not like way in the back half, still close to middle. And we seem to have figured out how to get our offense going now. Granted, that was against a very bad Chicago defense. They do not have a good defense. So... Now, what's interesting is, listening to Streeter talking last night, Eddie Gage sounded very scared of our tight end, Tiberius Bovine. He sounded like he had trouble figuring out how to stop him. But that could all be a ploy. I don't believe... playbooks are due until today, since we play Saturday, so that might have been like a last-ditch effort to kind of mess with what we do. Maybe he's figured out Tiberius Bovine, and he wants everyone else to beat him. Maybe that's what they're gonna do. It's very hard. They've only had 2 games. I'm curious what our game plan is, but I would never like have that interview of like, okay, what are we going to do this week? Because obviously we're just going to probably get over to our opponent coach, and they're going to game plan against it, unless we start playing the game of, which I'm kind of insinuating Gage is doing, where you put out the rumor that we're going to do one thing when we're really going to do something else. And then when teams figure out we do that, we put out a rumor we're going to do one thing, so they plan for us to do something else, but we actually do what we say we're going to do. Or we do a third option. It's crazy. But This should be a tight game. I really like the way our offense looks in the 2-minute offense, or no huddle. Our defense is prevent no huddle defense, I guess you want to call it. Our defense against the no huddle looks really good. Of course, again, last year, our prevent defense, our defense against a 2-minute offense was terrible. Pretty much giving up scores at the end of every half we didn't end the half with the ball with. If that makes sense. Did that come out right? I don't know. Anyway, obviously I'm predicting us. The formula I mentioned didn't predict us. Obviously Eddie Gage and AD Stryker didn't pick us. Brent Killian didn't pick us. So that's just a even better chance for us to take this team by surprise, get this dub, match our season or franchise high. Does it count as a franchise high? Since our return, number of wins of the season, and then after that, we're looking for that number 6 win as the next goal. Well, actually, 4 would be the next goal, just overpass what we used to do. Then it'll be 6. It's steps. We're doing one game at a time anyway. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling on with the Scorpions segment of this show. So we'll just get out of here. No music this week. No highlights. Not too much pizzazz. Because like I said, the issues with the storage on the device I used to make the show. And I want to do interviews, but we're still looking for a good service or system or whatever, like Streamlabs or Zoom or whatever. If you have any suggestions so we can do video interviews, put them in the comments as well. And don't forget our question about who you think Oklahoma City's rival is. Put that in the comments. And also subscribe. And I also like the little light that pops up when you say subscribe on YouTube around, the subscribe button. Alright. Enough rambling. Enjoy your Friday. Get ready for this game Saturday. And we'll see you next Wednesday, the usual time. Peace.
We gonna get you daggone Scorpions.